Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Circus. Yoo-hoo! I'm so glad that y'all are here. This is our third episode in a three-part series. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tristan Cunningham. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the honor of being your host this evening as we talk about circus. We have some incredible guests that are going to come on. We're going to chat with our guests, but like we do at Circus Smirkus, we like to start all of our live events with our land acknowledgement. Now, I know we're all tuning in from different parts, but we ask you to just sort of translate this land acknowledgement to whatever beautiful land that you are currently on. So we'll start with our land acknowledgement. Circus Smirkus honors, recognizes, and respects the many great nations, especially the Abenaki, as the traditional stewards of the lands and waters on which we gather and stake our tents. We acknowledge that we are guests on this land and that we must respect and protect all the lands that we use. Thank you for taking time for that. And again, translate that to wherever you are. Again, I will welcome you to Let's Talk Circus. Now, let me tell you a little bit about how Let's Talk Circus came to be. Our initial intention with Let's Talk Circus was to talk about circus with many different people all over the world. And that's exactly what we're going to do here tonight. But our other intention was to hear many voices, including your voice at home. So at the end of our time with our guests, we have a live Q&A, and we want to hear your questions that you want to ask these guests. And don't be shy, folks. Please ask us the questions, and I will ask our guests these questions live so that you can hear these answers, because part of this is for you to gain knowledge about the circus world and for you to hear different voices in the circus world and for us to hear your voice. So please be a part of this experience. And again, thank you for being here with us. Okay, our agenda. In a moment, we will meet our first guest. We will see a video that involves what our first guest does, and it's pretty incredible. And then we will meet our second guest. We'll do our Q&A, and then we will sadly say goodbye. If any point during this interview or these two interviews you feel motivated or excited to donate, there's a donate button in the chat and you can donate there. We are beyond grateful for anything, any kind of support. We are, like I said, beyond grateful for it. More on that in just a minute. Let's get to the good stuff, shall we? We shall. So our first guest is known under the name Kip. Kip is a director or the director of King Charles Troupe. I'll just say that much. We'll show you a little video and then we will invite Kip on to screen so we can interview. So without further ado, here is our video.
One of the things that I love about Built to Amaze is the King Charles Troupe. When my father acquired Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey in 1968, there were no African-American acts, no African-American performers. They became the first African-American act on Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey in 1969. So to bring the King Charles Troupe back to a whole new generation of circus goers is something extraordinary. And they deliver a real energy and excitement that you can't see anyplace else but here at the greatest show on earth.
All right, everybody, put your hands together, wiggle those fingers, snap those fingers, whatever you got to do at home. And let's introduce our first guest, Kim Anthony Jones, also known as Kim.
Hey, Tristan, how are you?
I'm so good, Kip. As you can see, I'm very excited that you're here.
Wonderful. So am I.
Thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure.
So Kip, let's jump right in, shall we?
Sure, of course.
So tell us, if you would, for those out there who might not know, what the King Charles Troupe is.
Sure.
And,
The King Charles Unicycle Troupe is a group of young men from the Southeast Bronx who play an unbelievable game of basketball on unicycles. In addition to, they also jump rope on unicycles.
Hey, That's awesome. So how did the King Charles Unicycle Group, how did it first come to be? What's sort of a little bit of the history? I know there's a lot, but if you
Sure,
can
sure.
sum up
I'll
some.
try to yeah, summarize it as much as possible. A young kid by the name of Jerry King, who lived in the deep South in Florida, uh, I'd say around this had to be around 1914, 1915. He snuck in into the circus underneath the side walls of the tent, what they used to call them back then, to see the Ringling Brothers Circus. But the only thing that he took from seeing that show was the elephants and the man on a high wire riding a unicycle. And as a young kid, he was always fascinated why he never saw any other colored kids riding a unicycle.
Mm.
So as he matured, went on in years, uh, finally moved and migrated up to the South Bronx. He met his wife, Alma King. They had a son, Charles King. So Jerry King took his passion of wanting to learn how to ride the unicycle, and taught his son Charles at the age of 5 in their apartment building in the hallways on Clinton Avenue in the South Bronx. Now, none of the other kids knew that Charlie was riding a unicycle uh, during that time period, because Charlie was always a bookworm. He was always into his school, but a lot of the kids didn't know what was, him and his dad were doing until the next following summer. Jerry King brought Charles out to the park, Katona Park specifically, where he showed all the kids all of his unicycling ability skills that his dad taught him during that summer period in the hallways of their apartment building. Then, with that, they formed the unicycle club basically because Mr. King was very concerned with the social evils in the neighborhood. So he was always concerned with a lot of the alcoholism and smoking elements that was surrounding the kids. So he basically utilized the unicycle as a tool to help teach discipline and direction. And he did that by forming a unicycle club. Now, to his amazement, they started to do a lot of, community projects, block parties. And then one summer, while the guys were practicing their unicycle skills in Katona Park, a young kid by the name of Bill Menson happened to stroll across the park on his way to baseball practice and happened to stumbled onto the unicycle troupe. And Bill Menson, being an avid youngster that he was, he kind of said to himself, this would be something that would look great on TV. So they started to get, television, interviews. They started to do television shows like Wonderama, I Got a Secret, the Jerry Lewis show, the Merv Griffin show for those are much older folks who would know that one. And then they first got their break in, I'd say about 1914. Excuse me, 19, I forget the period. It was probably about 14 days right after the assassination of Martin Luther King.
Mm.
They probably about 1968, I want to say, that they got their first audition on the sidewalks of Madison Square Garden for then producer Irving Feld and his marketing person, Trolley Rodin. After that following summer, the troupe came back to be the first all-Black unicycle group to ever perform with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, in its 99-year history. And that's what helped kind of catapult the legacy of the King Charles Unicycle Troupe.
Can you just say that again, Kip? Because that's important to highlight. They became what?
Oh, they became the first all-Black circus group to perform with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus in its 99-year history. So they went from the city streets to the center ring of the greatest show on earth.
Ooh, wow, the snaps for that. And so much what you said was so beautiful. I love the image of Jerry crawling under the tent flaps, and also, realizing nobody in that ring looks like me, and I want to see myself represented. And then, the full circle of that actually happening is just so beautiful. Ooh, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Okay, so Kip, for you, were you a part of the troupe?
So I
How
grew
you
up
get
in the
connected?
second generation.
Okay.
So the original troupe, after spending a couple of years on the road, they actually came back to the South Bronx to kind of look for another generation of young riders to help teach them the disciplines and the direction that their mentor Jerry King had taught them. So they actually started a second generation troupe called the KCT Juniors. Now,
Mm,
KCT Juniors wasn't originally supposed to be a unicycle group because we actually started out as a gymnastic group.
okay.
Because the whole thought process was we were actually going to be the first all-black gymnastic or teeterboard group in Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Because at that time we were actually getting taught by two Russian teachers who came from Russia up to the States. Their name was Nina and Mr. Fadine. Um,
Mm,
so they were actually teaching us a lot of the circus skills. And I joined the troupe in probably, I'd say, at the age of 15, around 1977. I just happened to be, I came home one day from school and a good buddy of mine that lived downstairs underneath me had mentioned that he's going to go try out for some sports team. So I'm like, okay, wow, maybe he's going to, try out for a basketball or football team or something, or a baseball team. So I
little
just
did you know.
happened, yeah, loaded. I know. I just happened to, tag along with them, and we walked into this boys club over on 163rd and Park Avenue in the Bronx. And to my amazement, we walked into a gymnasium of over 20 guys doing athletic abilities on unicycles, and I fell in love with it ever since.
Hmm. Oh, I love that. I usually ask people, when did you get that circus bite? So that's really cool. That was your circus bite. That's what got you.
Yeah, yeah, that was kind of my and I never went to the circus prior to, getting introduced to the King Charles Troupe. So that's what kind of helped introduce me into the circus community,
That's really great. Thank goodness for that friend that was like, "Hey, what you doing? Let's go
right?
go audition for sports." Um, no, that's wonderful. So now, if I'm correct, you are the director of the
Yeah.
King Charles Unicycle Troupe. How does it, so that you went from, being in the troupe to becoming the director. What was that journey? How does that feel?
Yeah, so it's funny because a lot of the mentorship that was given in the troop by all of its members to its younger members was always taught for us to be leaders,
Mm,
not followers, whether it's, in this business or whatever business you tend to do, after circus life is always, looking out for your fellow man, being kind to them, always reaching out to younger people and help their dreams, come true. Because, just having a conversation sometime, can spark an idea in the youth and they could just take it to a whole nother level. So that was primarily my takeaway from it. And I'm just honored to be stepping into the footsteps after Charlie King, who was the original troop leader and director, and then after Sweets Floyd Harrison. So hopefully I look to pass this on to one of the other generation members, and hopefully they'll be able to take it to another level because we are now in a fifth generation of
whew,
King Charles Unicycle Troupe riders, over 50 years of performing around the globe.
that's really beautiful and powerful. And that idea of, yeah, passing the torch, it's an important thing.
You have to.
You have to. You really do. And I love too how the from the beginning it was about, circus being this empowering tool, and this, community and home. And I think, I try to teach like that, and Smirkus tries to be, in this ring, we are, there could be a lot going on out there, but in this ring, we are,
All one family.
we're one family.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's strange because that was the same type of mentality when the original troupe, went to join Ringling Brothers in 1969, because you had all these other European acts from all around the world, and they were, I believe, the only US act at the time with Ringling. But it's like a city traveling on the rail, because you have You have Yugoslavian, Russian, Mexican, all different nationalities, but everyone being in such a close-knit environment, everyone has that sense of family. We may not understand each other's language at first, but for us, we will always say, "Hey, hi, brother, hi, sister," and that was kind of the gateway of sharing, family sense of the circus.
Hmm. I love that. That circus is this place where we are family, even if we don't speak the same language. In
Exactly.
a way, we do speak the same language, you know? Yeah, that's beautiful. So Kip, let's say there's somebody, what area is King Charles Troop based in? And let's say there's somebody out there that's just super interested or is like, hey, I am, seeking for some guidance or some leadership. How do they connect with you? How do they support you? All of that. That was five questions in one. Sorry, but
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna try to hit them all. We're currently based out of New York right now, but we do have members who live in Vegas. We have actually one of our younger members and another gentleman by the name of Kasim and Jordan who work out of the Las Vegas um, Center. I think it's called the Warehouse in Las Vegas, where Jordan is actually teaching younger kids at the moment. So they work out of that facility there. We have members in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, uh, all over the place. But they can reach out to us if they have any questions about unicycling at kingcharlestroupe.com, and then also on social at King Charles Troupe. And it's Troupe spelled Troupe.
E. Okay, that's great. So they're King Charles family sort of all over.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because, this one man's dream and legacy just happened to touch so many people and individuals in the community. And that has had extensions even outside of our own community because and I'll tell you a quick funny story. The troupe visited Puerto Rico, and I think it was around 66, maybe 65, just as, to go out there and do an exhibition. But there's a gentleman in Puerto Rico, his name is Charles. He was so moved by the troupe's presence and presentation that he was inspired to start teaching kids in Puerto Rico. So they have a troupe out there now called the Puerto Rican All-Stars, if I'm not mistaken. And then that whole boom just led to unicycle federation competitions all over the world now. So I don't know if we had any influence on that. I like to think we've had maybe a touch of it, just based on, that seed being planted and it flourishing out to others, around the world. But we're definitely, excited and thrilled to see that they have unicycling basketball competitions now all around the world.
So cool. And it's just such a good reminder. I love what you said about, one man's dream and, just following through with your dreams and like how many people, like the ripple effect of how many people it can affect. So y'all follow through with those dreams.
Yeah, yeah. And he mainly did that, as a concern for his son and his community. And then
Hmm,
it just took off to a whole different idea once the seed was planted. So plant those seeds, people, because you never know what they grow into.
that's right. Ah, that's beautiful. And that's a perfect segue, Kip, because we have another video that we're
Okay,
going to watch. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about like what we're going to see exactly.
sure.
So you'll tell us first, and then we'll play it. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
I didn't mean to.
Which video are you playing
So
again?
it's a video of some older footage
Oh,
of the troupe,
oh, okay. That
and
was
I
actually
believe they're in Ring. Is it Ringling? Okay, sorry, you
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay.
I got
Yeah,
excited.
yeah. If it's the one that I'm thinking of that I sent you, that was their first performance in 1969, and I believe it was Tampa, Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So that was their very first performance, and that's not even having an act. That's just riding and shooting the ball. The whole performance of the routine came later years down the road.
Okay, wow. So I'll just intro it a little bit because that's amazing. The very first act, or first time they performed.
Formed.
So what we're about to see is the King Charles Unicycle Troupe, the very first time they performed in Ringling. Is that right?
That is right. And it's actually the first year that Gunther Gable joined Ringling for the first time. So both troops came on at the same year on Ringling.
Wow. Okay, so without further ado, a little ring.
This must be one of the wildest basketball games ever played. This is another highlight of the brand new 99th edition this year. The circus is a vanishing art for Americans, which is a very sad state of affairs for those of us who love it. So many of the great acts come from Europe and Australia. It is therefore with special pride that the greatest show on earth presents these young lads. They are Americans all from the Bronx, and they call themselves the King Charles Troupe. Look, oh, watch him get the goal. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So Kip, you wanted to share a little bit more of how the unicycle and the basketball sort of came to be, or how how the act came to be. So go ahead,
Yeah. So
share with us if you would.
the guys happened to be practicing one day out in the park in Katona Park, right? Close to a basketball court. And I can't remember what they were practicing. It might have been baseball or football, one of those sports they were integrating. But the basketball just happened to roll over to one of the players on the team, and his name actually was Albert Cutts Owens. Albert picked up the basketball on his unicycle, shot it into the hoop. After making the hoop, the guys started to then get up a 3-on-3 basketball game, and that's kind of what fused the King Charles Troupe identity of unicycle and basketball.
Okay. So before that, was primarily unicycle riding?
Just unicycle riding, doing formations, circles, stars, eights and things, figure eights and things. And the basketball didn't happen to come along later on into their practicing.
That's so cool. And I know for me, like, basketball is such a big part of my life. So putting those two worlds together, like, I love that. It shows the possibilities with circus too, you know?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so Kip, we're just going to say goodbye to you for a little bit, but before you go, I like to ask people, what is either your best circus advice to someone who's like an aspiring circus artist, or a circus artist who's been here for a while and maybe this advice will help them, or the best advice you got?
I would say, just based on my experience and advice that's been given to me down the years, is always practice your craft. You know, practice it as much as you can, because you always want to be a professional in what you do, number one. Two, and then also you want to perfect your skill as much as possible. And that could either come from, you know, looking at other artists to see how they bow to the crowd, because sometimes you might have a bad act, but as long as you come with a good bow to the crowd, they'll remember that last thing that you did. So regardless if you have a bad act or a bad performance, always come back up smiling at the crowd and show them your appreciation.
Oh, I love that. Bow with pride. Because some of the times they don't know it's bad. You know, what's
Bad,
bad
right?
to
And
you
you can
isn't bad
cover
to
it up.
them.
Yeah, you
Right.
might be able to cover it up.
But that last moment is what sticks, you know? Oh, that's such
Exactly.
good advice. Okay, thank you, Kip, so much. Don't worry, y'all. Kip is coming back at the end. This is a good time to think of your questions for Kip. And we are going to invite our next guest, not a desk, a guest, a really amazing guest. Her name is Amara Berry. She's my dear friend and co-founder of New England Black Circus. We're going to show you a little bit about New England Black Circus, and then we will invite Amara onto the screen. So go ahead, New England. Try to get her in there. All right, y'all at home, clap your hands, snap your fingers, wiggle them, shake around, and let's give Amara Berry some love. Thank you, Amara, for being here with us.
I'm so happy to be here and to be interviewed by you instead of interviewing you the way we met the first time.
That's right. We've switched. Y'all don't know this, but Amara did an incredible interview. Well, she did the incredible part with me about being a Black circus artist, and so that's how we first met. And then Amara was also our head coach last summer at Smirkus Camp, and was fabulous. So we're family now.
Yeah, we sure are.
But okay, enough about me, Amara. We want to hear from you. My first question is, how did New England Black Circus come to be?
Yeah, so New England Black Circus is in its sophomore year. We've been around for 2 years so far. The reason why it came to be is because of the interview series. I talked to as many Black circus professionals as I know, and people started reaching out and recommending each other after they started. I had a grant at Brown to conduct these oral histories. I wound up talking to 48 Black circus professionals, and I have like around 50 hours of footage. I was trying to figure out, if you're a Black circus artist or an aspiring professional, what is the path to professionalism? No surprise, there were 48 paths, not just one. But there were some things that I saw that made me want to take action. So one is that a lot of the people I spoke with started, the average age people start is like 8 or 9, but you can start at any age. There were a lot of social circus programs that people started in and got their skills up in their youth or youth programs. And a lot of those programs, when you look into them now, are not really around as much anymore or as robust. I hope I'm wrong about this, but based on that information, I would suspect that there's going to be like a real dip in the amount of Black circus talent that's available in the next 10 years. We're going to see that. And I felt kind of compelled to do something about it. So we wanted New England Black Circus to be kind of like an accelerator. So we reached out to gymnasts and cheerleaders and dancers who were, you know, melanated and not afraid of heights, and offered them the resources to have discounted classes, take intensives, get the mentorship they need. Anyone who had an interest in the New England area in pursuing this full-time or part-time, we wanted to kind of assist in that. We also have a social circus in which we just allow for Black folks that like to do circus to come to our all Black open studios on the second Saturday of every month at Ash Circus Arts in Somerville. We have, you know, kind of a social network as well. And, you know, people come to circus for all different reasons. It's very different being a hobbyist versus a full-time performer. The things that you have to prioritize are different too. And the feedback you get is a lot different if you want to be good.
Yeah, that's real. And I resonate with a lot of what you said. You know, growing up, I was in Smirkus when I was younger, and, you know, just not seeing a lot of folk that look like me. And so I just want to say, you know, I think New England Black Circus is essential, and I hope we have a bunch of them pop up all over, because it is really powerful to see somebody in the air that looks like you. So,
I think,
you know.
yeah, I think that well, we've seen other groups popping up, the West Coast Black Circus, the BIPOC Circus Alliance. So I think it probably needs to be Black led, because something that I was told that wound up not being true is that there wasn't a lot of diversity on the local scene because there weren't Black people doing circus. But we just had to find each other. And once we did, and once we got linked up, it was fine. It was great. And we've been really well embraced by the Boston circus community, and the OGs have been really great about making sure that there's a seat at the table for us too, which we love.
Yeah, which is really important too, you know?
Yeah.
So circling, so now that we have all that information, and thank you, circling backwards in your journey, what was your circus bite? What got you like, I need to be a part of this community. I need to do this.
So this is kind of the silliest origin story. I was a pageant girl
Down
like,
for
in
it.
my early 20s. And I wound up being Miss Rhode Island in like 2015. But basically, I needed a talent and definitely cannot sing. So and we found that out the hard way at prelims one year. So like I was also a student athlete at Brown. I was on the track team, and I wanted to find a performance thing that I could use to show off kind of how strong I am and like my athletic abilities. I wound up learning an aerial silks routine for that pageant and like falling in love with being in the air so much more that I became really an impassioned hobbyist for a bunch of years. My background is in pageantry, in like drag, and it turns out that those kinds of razzle dazzle skills are really well suited for traditional circus, and that the physical skills and the performance skills don't always come together so well. And between the start of New England Black Circus and just having the opportunity to take gigs as my primary source of income, I haven't really looked back since then.
I love that. And I love it's something I encourage my students to do. A lot is like pulling from the different parts of our lives, you know, and like, you know, talking with Kip, like the circus can be kind of this home for that, you know? So that's really, I love that. And I'm thinking about that pageant. Did anybody else do circus in the pageant? I know you stood out.
I sure did. You know, I don't think they knew what to make of it at the time. So it you know, I don't think they knew what to make. There was actually Miss America had a hoop aerialist, had a lyra solo this year, so
Okay.
it is turning into a thing
It's
that
a thing. Maybe you started this.
yeah, yes, maybe that is really my true legacy is the pioneer of the pageant circus talent.
Yes. Okay, so coming back, so you spoke a little bit about how you're in the Boston area. Can you tell folks who are like interested in connecting with you and connecting with New England Black Circus again? I know you said it a little bit, but just in more detail, how do they do so? You know, maybe if you're feeling, you know, nervous about it, give us some information because you should connect with them, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a section on our website, newenglandblackcircus.com, and it's a tab that just says join. If you can claim any heritage along the African diaspora or identify that way and live in the New England area, the only reason we say that is because we're getting flooded with inquiries from all over the country, and we can't be available as a resource for everyone in that way. But if you have that, it'll, you know, we'll ask for some info. How long have you been doing circus? What are your goals? We get those forms and then we'll get you onto our listserv. You can come meet with us on the second Saturday of every month at ESH. We have different groups of people who are just hobbyists and just wanting to, you know, perform for each other. We also have our proteges, which are like aspiring professionals that auditioned for our troupe, but weren't quite ready. And then we have a troupe of performers that take on professional gigs. Usually we refer them to other groups that are more established at corporate gigs. Sometimes there are traveling contracts, but a lot of our people are mostly looking to stay local. So it's a lot of corporate festival type things, but we're going to be really busy again in the month of June between all of the Pride festivals and all of the Juneteenth festivals. So if you are interested and have your insurance and everything, please reach out and let us audition you and see if you might want to make some money with us.
Yes. And what I love too, or what it's sounding like, and tell me if I'm incorrect, is that it's sort of welcome to everybody wherever they're at in their circus journey. If you have a professional act, or if you want to do it as a hobby and come train in community, it sounds like it's open for that too. Am I understanding correctly?
Absolutely. And I think that you can't consider going professional from being a hobbyist if you don't see people who have done that. You can't be it if you can't see it. So a big part of what we were trying to do is be that thing. I mean, my best friend Nicole is the other co-founder of New England Black Circus. We thought we were the only Black girls who could climb in the whole area, and that's not true. But we didn't know anybody else. We've never had
like that.
Yeah, it can feel, it really does. It can feel that way. And in our studios, we were the only ones. So it's nice to have a home studio where our organization is kind of affiliated, because we've noticed that there are more Black students that come, and that helps kind of just foster the community more.
Okay. Okay, so we as you know, with Smirkus, we have some younger artists, like some that are just joining Smirkus or leaving Smirkus, or in Smirkus camp. And so I'll ask you, what is your circus advice that resonates with you? And you can say more than one thing, or circus advice that you got that really resonated.
I think that if I could give advice to, I was so impressed with the youth at Smirkus this past summer, and especially because of how well they adapt to things at their age compared to me, where it takes me like a long time to learn things because I started circus in my 20s. I think remembering that there's a lot of time and your career can last a long time is great. I think that when you're a younger performer and just a less experienced performer, you can forget about how much time there is and you want everything right away. I would also, I mean, this one is maybe just a smaller thing, but younger performers need to focus on their rehab and cool downs and like warm-ups more than they do. Just because you haven't been injured now doesn't mean you are completely invincible. Those things will catch up to you later. Think about it. Nobody cares about injury prevention until they're hurt.
Right. No, that's really great advice. Even for myself, I'm taking that in. Yeah, that's huge. And I love what you said. We had interviewed another circus artist named Ori Casada, and he was speaking about continually learning as a circus artist. And he said, I've been performing the same act for years, but I'm continually learning new things, finding challenges now that I'm old in my body. So there is this I don't know, we feel like, oh, it's done. We get very product oriented and like, and it's a journey. It's a continual journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why I think that's why circus has held my attention for as long as it has as a person with ADHD. You can find new novelty a lot of different ways, but also you build up new skills, mental, physical, coordination skills in the novelty and the pursuit of learning those new things. And that's been cool too. And it's great to learn from other performers, see how they do it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so before we invite Kip back on, Amara, I want to ask you, what are some in your circus journey, some like challenges you faced and how you negotiated that, and then some just like really glorious, wonderful moments you've also experienced, if you're willing.
Absolutely. I think that it is the Boston circus scene has a well-established group of performers. They're like our teachers and our mentors, and I think that it can be hard when you decide that you want to perform full time to know if that is a reasonable option based on what the market needs, like what's available, who's casting. So I think that one challenge is finding where you fit in and figuring out who needs aerialists in their shows that doesn't already work with somebody else. I've tried to embrace a spirit of creativity with that. So New England Black Circus is the halftime performance for like the Boston League of Wicked West Wrestlers, which is an independent feminist women's wrestling league that just wanted to work with us. We wind up doing a lot of aerial performances at the local drag shows and in the burlesque community sometimes. So yeah, being creative about where you find it was something I needed to do in order to be able to work all the time. And I think it's, challenging because the entertainment market is not like a regular job market, in that even if you're the best at your skill and very qualified to be there, they just might not be looking for what you offer or what your apparatus is. And you can't take that too personally. You have to just pivot and find another way.
Yeah. That's really real and really good advice. And I would say to those who are in those positions of casting, expand, if you can, because we can get really stuck in what feels comfortable or what we've seen before, but that doesn't allow us to grow.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about getting creative and finding different avenues, like performing with the wrestling group. That's that's so creative, that's not what we traditionally are, but that's beautiful. I love it.
And it's been great. They're a really fun group, very tough. And similar like sports performance kinds of people as us. So they rhinestone their costumes the same way that I do.
Yeah, there's a camaraderie there. I can see it working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some glorious moments or some moments where you're like, this is why I do this,
We had our first show last June on Juneteenth, and it sold out in the last 24 hours before it happened. And it was empty. Like we hadn't sold any tickets basically until that point. So I was pretty sure that the Boston community had decided they just weren't messing with it. Like they didn't like us, It was sold out. The outpouring of support that we've received as a brand new group and the extent to which established circus booking agencies have wanted to make sure we were included and that basically taking a chance on us, even though none of us have the same number of years of professional experience and we haven't been around them for as long, has been really overwhelming and humbling. There are local drag shows in specific venues that have like the 30-foot ceilings that will only work with aerialists from our group. And it's a little bit sight unseen because we don't have a long track record. We just kind of got here. Most of us have been performing for a really long time, but sure, as an organization, we haven't. I've been blown away by just the outpouring of support from the Boston circus community. They've been really generous with us.
Yeah, that's huge. And congratulations. It sounds like, you got creative and then also just like built trust in the community. And that's huge.
Yeah, I think the best way to rebuild those things and to get booked again is to be good, but more than that, it's to be good to work with.
That's right.
Yeah. So
write that one down, y'all. That's right.
Yeah, we were trying to do our part by not just being good, but being good to work with, and they're good to us, and it's a great relationship we have.
It's also important too, that being reciprocated.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I never would have thought Boston would be a place where I felt affirmed as a Black performer, because that's not Boston's reputation generally, but it's here. We're doing it. It's great.
That makes me really happy to hear. Thank you, Amara. You just dropped so much wisdom on us. Thank you for that. So we'll do our live Q&A. We have one question that's coming in hot. And then if anybody else has a question, this is your time to shine. We'll invite Kip back on. We just have about 5 more minutes with these incredible artists. So don't waste time out there, folks. Ask these questions. So we have one question. Someone wants to know, and we can just popcorn, whoever feels inspired can just speak, and then we'll just go to the next artist, and you of course can pass. Someone wants to know what you'd like to see in the circus world. Something you'd like to see in the circus world.
You want me to take that one, Amara?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, just coming from from my background and what I do on unicycle, I would love to see an all unicycle show based around the different disciplines of unicycling, which would be something that would be new and different to the entertainment field.
I'd like to see that too.
So that hopefully is a work in progress still.
Thank you, Kip. Amara, what would you like to see in the circus world?
Yeah, I would like to see more diversity of bodies on the circus stages. I would like to see larger bodies. I would like to see more melanin, and I would like for the open secrets that we've heard around, like, these are roles for Black acrobats, to not be the case. I would love for all of the roles to be available to everyone.
Yep.
And you know how we could potentially introduce that is having a school program curriculum that would be circled around circus arts. This way it would help get kids of all sizes, small, large, thin, tall, and all shapes and sizes, introduced into circus arts. And this way, kids can kind of start to develop, what their passions are, what their skill sets might be in circus. And just not only that, but, a sense of, working together as a group, to accomplish, something and present to the audience. So I think it would help to provide, showmanship, working together as a unit as well as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think social circus is really great for it does a lot of different things. So most of the Black circus pros I talked to came through social circus programs, but most of the people who come for their programs aren't going to go on to be professionals. But it teaches you about the importance of dealing with frustration. Like learning to juggle is hard, and delayed gratification. There's balance and coordination things. You build up confidence in your body. Like there's so many things that are beneficial for young people with that program.
So true. So many essential life skills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect word.
Thank you all. That was a beautiful answer. Okay, so we have two more, which is perfect. Someone wants to know, what is the first step when you're riding a unicycle?
Ooh. Well, for me, living in the South Bronx, my apartment walls were my guide rails, if you will. I used to just hold on the walls and just try to ride down straight until I finally got my balance to go and push off on my own. For those who don't have hallways, you can always use a fence in the park as well too.
You make it work. That's awesome. Okay, Amara. Well, we'll do this at the end, but maybe you can do a little bit now. They want to know how to contact you. I think, or yeah, it must be, I guess, to support you specifically as an artist, if you're comfortable.
So, yeah, I mean, I am reachable through New England Black Circus's website or on Instagram, NE Black Circus, or my circus Instagram is Twerk Circ, TWERKCIRQUE. It's supporting me is supporting New England Black Circus and vice versa. We are intertwined in
You are, okay.
And we have other artists that have other specialties and things that art can also be supported. But I think of New England Black Circus as the reason why I'm able to perform. So I'm going to put both info there that way.
Okay. So either avenue, folks, you will find Amara. It will lead to Amara.
Probably the fastest is Instagram on either account, but yeah, our website is.
Thank you for that. Okay, sorry, there's a couple questions coming in hot and I want to hold space for them. Kip, you're connected with another circus?
Yes. We are associated. Yeah. I mean, over the years, we've been associated with, Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus, the Russian Circus, Universal Circus, but now we are associated with Omnium, a bold new circus, which is the first all multi-talented, multi-abled circus that highlights diversity in all things inclusion and diverse. And not only in the back office, but they introduce it on stage as well. So it's kind of it's first of its kind. We'll be with them at their next performance, which will be for us April 12th through the 25th at the New Vic Theater in New York City on 42nd Street and Broadway. So if you have time, come down and check out the show.
Yes, to all that. Check out that show, y'all. Okay, Amara, we're just going to jump back and forth. This question is for Amara, and then they want me to ask you too, Kip. And we'll probably end with this one. Unless another one comes in, then I'll have to. Okay, what happens to the memorable moments you experience while being part of the circus? Wait, let me make sure I read that right. What happens to the memorable moments you experience while being part of the circus? Yeah.
That's a funny question because I feel like sometimes the moments go really quickly, and you can look at the footage, but you spend so much time getting ready for a performance and obsessing over your choreography and making sure the rigging is right and that your grip is right and that you're warmed up enough and that your costume fits, and then it's over quickly and you don't even always remember what happened. I have a tradition with one of my performing partners, where we write each other like a little handwritten note every time we have a gig together. And it can be just like a post-it note, but just something to like remember that we did this today at this thing with this fantastic thing with our bodies. I think that maybe a note for me is that I need to do more things to commemorate those moments, because they do add up kind of quickly, and they go by really quickly too.
Yes, they do. This
They
is
do.
such a genius question, because I'm always telling my students too, let's get to a place where we can feel comfortable on stage and enjoy it. Because I think we forget that part a lot of time. I know I do personally. So I totally resonate with what you said. All this stuff to not enjoy the actual moment.
Yeah.
We need to. So thank you for this question, whomever asked it. Okay, Kip, go ahead.
I think for me, the pleasure is just those small moments when, young kids come up to us after the show and they're just so blown away by what they've seen and, how inspired, they are at that moment, and how we try to, take that moment and try to help, flourish it and continue it to grow by, telling them that, you can do this too, if you just, practice one day, and you can be just as good as we are on it as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's so important, because everybody who I've talked to had that moment where they saw something, they saw the circus, they saw, and that's what got them, and that's why they're there. So those moments are essential. You never know who needs to hear it.
Exactly.
Um,
It lasts a lifetime.
it really does. And I know my moment, and I'm so grateful for it. All right, y'all. It is about that time. Before we say goodbye, I just want to again, to Amara and Kip, thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your knowledge and wisdom and spirit with us. It was just really amazing. So thank you. Real quick, tell us how folks who are listening can support you. I know you spoke a little bit about it, but say it again, just so people make it to those shows, or whatever kind of support you would like as an artist or with your organizations. Let's go to Amara first, and then we'll go to you, Kip.
NewEnglandBlackCircus.com, any Black Circus on Instagram, Twerk Circ on Instagram. The next show we do will be our Juneteenth show. And the majority of our other performances are corporate events, private events, and things that when we do have things that are open to the public, we try to advertise it on our Instagram account.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, you could reach us at the King Charles Troupe.com. On social at King Charles Troupe. And again, that's Troupe spelled Troupe. And for us, just take the moment and, find a kid that, might be having, him or her might be having a problem, and just, invest some time with them, and just show them, how important that they are, and, what they can grow up to be. So just, take the time and just, give them that attention when you can, even if it's just a half an hour a day. Sometimes those little things just mean the biggest things to small people.
Oof, that is so real. I second that. All right, y'all. It is my time to say goodbye. Again, my name is Tristan Cunningham. My pronouns are she, her. I've been your host. Thank you for spending this time with us. This is the last episode of our 3-part series called Let's Talk Circus, where we talk about circus. If you enjoyed this, if this felt motivating to you at all, there is a donate button. It does take some time and energy to put this together. So if you can donate, we're super grateful. Support can also look like a lot of different things. It doesn't always look like money. It looks like your time, your energy, your spirit, you even sending good thoughts towards Smirkus. We're grateful for that. So whatever kind of support you can give us, we are grateful for it. You also have supported us by showing up and just being here, showing up and showing out, and sharing this space with us today. So I want to say thank you for that. Some Smirkus news: camp registration is open, so you can register for camp. Woohoo! Which you should. It's a fun camp. Also, family camp is open too. So if you want to bring your grown-ups and run away and join the circus, you should, and you can do that up in Greensboro with us. Coming soon, drum roll please, our tour dates and tour tickets are going to be on sale so soon. Our show this year is going to be really exciting. We have some wonderful troopers. So that will be coming soon. So keep an eye out, and please come to see the show if you are around the touring show. Like Amara spoke to, our troopers are absolutely incredible. So come out and come see them in action. I want to thank our prior guests. We had Ori Casada, Abigail Munn, and Tony Cannon, yes, from Circus Bella. I tried to say Tony Cannon and Circus Bella at the same time, wouldn't suggest that. Tony Cannon, all of those artists from Circus Bella. We also had Jonathan Lee Iverson, the last ringmaster, and we ended our time with Amara and Kim Anthony Jones, also known as Kip. I just want to snap the fingers to all these artists who took time for the benefit of other artists. It means a lot to us. So thank you. I'd like to thank Josh Shack, who's running all the things behind scene, Genevieve, and our executive artistic director, Rachel Schiffer, for putting time and energy into this kind of work, which is absolutely important and essential. And last but not least, our diversity and access committee for supporting me in leading this and for putting energy towards this work as well. That's it. Thank you for being here with me. Goodbye. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you down the road. Yoo-hoo!
And thank you, Tristan, for everything that you will do in circus industry as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.